It is the final day of February 2010. Kick off the third month of 2010 tomorrow. Before we know it, it'll be 2011 and then into 2012 and beyond. We're going to be here live for the next 2 hours as we are every Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Central, and I'll be back live tomorrow, Lord willing, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. Okay, let me just go over the stacks of news that we have here for you. The head of the International Monetary Fund, or the private holding company of the central banks of the planet, proposes new reserve currency, an end to the dollar. So we've gone in the last few years from them denying they were planning this, even though we had their internal documents that were leaked, to now proposing it openly. We need to talk about how this is going to shake out, how they plan to unfold this in the next 16 months, 16 to 18 months, probably even sooner. This is of the greatest import. We'll tie it into what the global government is doing, what they're setting up. Global government for, by, and of the private predatory central banks. Also, we'll tie it into their funding mechanism, the global carbon taxes, the environment tyranny that they're bringing in, the green straitjacket, and how that ties into the Chilean earthquake. I'd give them another day or two to say the global warming caused this. So they had, of course, the UN, and Danny Glover came out and said that the earthquake in Haiti a few months ago was supposedly, or a month and a half ago, was supposedly caused by global warming, though no scientists say the atmosphere has anything to do with earthquakes and tsunamis. These are a natural part of living on this very volatile planet. Anyone that tells you that the planet is supposed to just stay in one state and be 76 degrees like the inside of a office building is talking to you like you're a low-grade moron, and I know you're not. So we'll be going over that as well. Also, Pelosi and Obama pledged to ram through their takeover of government health care. We'll break down the latest information on that front. Of course, Obama today has re-signed the USA Patriot Act without stripping anything out of it. The Patriot Act, of course, was sold as if it was to stop foreign terrorists living in caves, but now they admit it's used against the American people, and Obama is continuing it without even a whimper. We had weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth by a lot of the Democrats after they voted in vast majority of the Democrats and Republicans. In fact, I forget the exact October 27, 2001 passage of the Patriot Act, but I want to say it was almost unanimous. Like, pull up the Patriot Act vote from October 2001, please. I want to get that number for people. But during the campaign in 2004, 2008, they decried it and promised to get rid of it. And now they've gone back on yet another promise in a big way. And I have a police state stack of news that we're going to dovetail with the Patriot Act stack, not just here in the United States, but around the world, to give you an idea of what type of tyranny we're all facing. Kurt Nimmo has an excellent article up on Infowars.com titled Obama and the Patriot Act. Yes, we can kill the Bill of Rights. And I want to go back over mainstream news reporting in the last 8 years how the Patriot Act has been used in, per state, thousands of non-terror-related cases. Family violence, marijuana dealing, not paying your income tax, supposedly, using the terror laws. But here's the New York Times. U.S. uses terror law to pursue crimes from drugs to swindling. So we'll give you the facts on that as well. And that's just some of the news coming up today. We have this important article out of the Vancouver National Post. Health officials in Vancouver have already provided 100,000 free condoms for the roughly 7,000 athletes and officials at the games, but they're rushing in a few 100,000 more for the orgy that's going on up there. They're having sex while Rome burns. It is Sunday, the final day of February 2010. We're going to be live here for the next 2 hours. Thank you for joining us. Okay. I want to get into the latest environmental attempted takeover by Al Gore and others. The disgraced Al Gore has written a disgusting New York Times op-ed where he chastises everyone for questioning him and says he would never lie to any of us. Doesn't matter if the entire UN, every university involved, have now admitted they're engaged in mass, complete fraud. ClimateGate 3 months ago was just the beginning. We're going to go over that coming up. We're going to talk about the government takeover of health care. Can we beat it? Yes, we can, if we get the truth out about what is in this legislation. And the real reason it's in trouble is the Democrats can't get their own people to vote for it because Howard Dean, the DNC head, and even people like Dennis Kucinich have said that it is nothing more than a gigantic wealth transfer to the insurance companies. It raises your taxes and even cuts the Medicare and Medicaid. What a fraud. So that is coming up as well. But the first thing I want to get into is the police state. We have offshore banks openly announcing all over the news in the last 2 weeks. They've been doing it the last year. They went from lying about it to saying world government's here, it's good. Private banks will tax you and tax your GDP and tax your fuel and everything you do. And this is going to be wonderful. And it's called a global government. It's called a New World Order. And last week we got a new United Nations document. Fox News and AP reported on it. Prison Planet has the definitive article on it, pointing out it says global government, $45 trillion every 10 years paid to private banks, and that it's meant to, quote, shut down industrial society, and that it is meant for a wealth transfer to the elite. So we're going to be going over that today. Here it is. Head of the IMF proposes new reserve currency, end of the dollar. ABC News. How many years have you heard us talk about this? IMF chief suggests look at new reserve currency. New York Times. And then the Mail, the Sunday Mail, reports man who broke the Bank of England, George Soros, at center of hedge fund plot to cash in on fall of euro. Engineered by Goldman Sachs as usual. So we'll be going over that, and U.S. banks have been ordered by the feds as of 2 weeks ago. Drudge Report carried our article on this. We just linked over to Citibank's own website. Wasn't hard journalism, where they said we may hold your money, even if it's already deposited in the bank, for 7 days while a money devaluation takes place. So we're going to be breaking that down as well. Big new developments on that front. But first, Barack H. Obama swore more than 2 years ago when he started his campaign for president that he was going to strip Section 213 and other subsections out of the USA Patriot Act. Section 802 says the Patriot Act is for all misdemeanors in the United States, non-terror related. Now, I can read, and so I wrote the analysis of Patriot Act that won the Project Censored Award, in 2003, but I wrote the analysis in November of 2001. And then a lot of top lawyers went and read it and finally started reporting that it was being used against the general public. Again, I'm not a rocket scientist. Section 802 says any action that endangers human life that's a violation of any federal or state law, including jaywalking, is an act of terrorism. So I read Section 213 and others, sneak and peek. They can break in your business, break in the library, bookstores. They can come and demand without warrants the entire reading list. They can take anything they want in your house, eat, and even not let you know that they were there without warrants. Then if you find out, they can charge you with terrorism. If you tell anyone they were there, there's now been cases of librarians that talked to the press who were arrested. They did defeat it in federal court. This is what's going on. But I had the guys pull up the voting record of the USA Patriot Act. It passed on October 24th in the Senate and the House on the 27th. And it says that 98 senators who voted in favor, 98% of the Senate voted for this. But then the Democrats ran around criticizing Bush in the 2004 election, then criticizing McCain in the 2008 election. And rightfully so. And Obama swore to take out all those provisions that were affecting U.S. citizens. Well, he signed it today He signed it when it was set to expire at midnight tonight. We've had it for 8 years. He signed an extension of the USA Patriot Act with no modification and little debate. Democrats send Patriot Act extension to Obama. And this is from Friday. He signed it today. As I was driving in, I heard the president has now signed it. And there's just absolutely no fanfare. And notice we've gone in 8 years from people complaining about warrantless wiretapping that's totally illegal to in Philadelphia and in Sacramento, all over the country, schools go on the news and say, yes, we give the students free laptops. They're not free. You pay for them with tax money, but they say they're free. Another lie. And then we watch you at home in your bedroom. And the principal said, what's the big deal? Then we found a Frontline piece from a year ago where they show the school watching the kids with their laptops without them knowing about it.